Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the Signals from Mars live stream brought to you by the Mars Attacks podcast. I'm your host, Victor, back as usual. And joining us, we have Iivo from the band Arion. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thanks. It's around 7:30 p.m. in Finland, so it's getting pretty late. I'm drinking coffee because of that, trying to stay awake. I've woken up really early today, and I'm pretty happy because the reception for our new album has been really good. The response has been from the crowd has been really pleasant for us, and couldn't be happier for that.
Yeah, and actually, interesting that you bring that up because I have a Patreon page, and on that page, I post a lot of videos, new videos of bands. And the 3 videos that you guys have released from this album have been posted there. And what my followers on Patreon do is they pick the songs that they like the best or the videos they like the best, and then those end up on a playlist. So all 3 of those songs have ended up on that playlist. Yeah, and I have a follower up in the UK, Jeremy Weltman, who just mentioned to me when I said I was interviewing you, he said, let him know that I pre-ordered the orange vinyl today. So at least on my end, people are really enjoying the album.
Yeah, well, that sounds overwhelmingly pleasant,
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that, and surprised as well, but well, thank you. And thank you to your Patreon followers as well.
Yeah, awesome. This album to me, and this is the one theme, it was funny. A lot of the things that I thought when I was preparing my questions, I reached out to my people on Patreon, and they asked a lot of the same things or mentioned a lot of the same things. It really seems that with this album, with Vultures Die Alone, you guys really kick things up a notch. The production seems to be at a different level, and even the songwriting seems like you guys have really push things further than you have in the past. Was that a conscious effort for you guys?
Well, those things kind of contribute to each other because this album for an Arion album, it was really easy to write. I'm the main songwriter for the band, so okay. That's kind of my territory, and I can cover that topic because of that kind of well. I wrote this album quite fast, compared to previous albums, and quite easy. It was I'd say, for example, I used to have a lot of trouble finishing stuff really in convenient pace, and this time it was it didn't take too much time actually. For example, many of the songs were finished within a time period of just weeks, during the winter 2019, and the fact that those songs kind of came together so easily, and they were really ready before we started recording anything, and that kind of contributes to that production level. It's the production stage gets really easy when you have that kind of situation when going into recording. So that might be a major factor, and of course we everything was planned really well because of that. When you have those songs really ready, you can really plan those production things, right. What kind of drum sound you're after, what kind of a guitar sound you're after, and shit like that. Everyone can practice really well, for the studio, rehearse. If you don't have the material ready, for example, the singer can't rehearse, and it can be really difficult after that. You can have a decent level for the record, but it's not going to be great if you can't have that opportunity to rehearse. So those things contribute to each other.
Gotcha. Okay, so the songs, you're saying you started writing them back 2 years ago in 2019. I'm assuming then that this was all recorded, obviously, during the pandemic. Did the pandemic afford you guys additional time to record the album?
I guess it didn't matter that much because we were going on a recording period anyway, because we were we played a lot of shows in 2019, seriously, and we're just before the pandemic started, we had finished all of those shows and we're supposed to go on a recording period. So recording break, so it didn't like matter that much, but maybe it kind of made the whole recording process feel like there's no rush. It kind of the world felt so like immobilized at the moment. It was kind of like it felt like really easy to just like focus on the recording process and the album production. There was no rush. Nothing's gonna happen anyway, so it made it like really stress-free, I'd say.
Right. Okay. And you're saying that you were able to take your time to pick the right sounds and everything. Was there anything going into the album that you really wanted to do with this album that you hadn't done with previous albums that you had released?
Yeah, well, going into the recordings, it was kind of obvious that this album's like material songwriting-wise was like heavier and also more modern. So that was a major factor considering like those sounds on the new album. We went into that direction, and because of that, we also hired Adam Nolly Getgood, ex-Periphery bass player, to mix this album because he has that kind of. He's like really famous for that tone, that like really heavy, massive modern metal sound. We wanted that. We didn't want that kind of like previous a little bit power metallic kind of sound on this album, even though we have those like symphonic elements still present in our music. And that's like there's a story to this band's evolution that we kind of went from like really like a basic power metal band into this kind of like modern hybrid kind of band, which we are today, and it was really important on this album to emphasize that, so that's why I'd say there was a really clear goal in mind when we went in the recordings of this album, like we wanted that heaviness, we wanted that like modern sound, like very like defined production, details and shit like that. And when you have those songs like in like good shape, when you go into those recordings, you're able to work on those details as much as possible, guitar solos and shit like that, So so there it all comes together.
Okay, was there anything from a gear standpoint that you used differently?
Yeah, actually, because this time the whole like on the previous album, the whole recording process was kind of a mess. We had to go with what we could like afford time-wise, not money-wise, but time-wise. And on this album, we had an opportunity, like I said, to kind of plan things out. And we used, like, for example, for guitars, we used a lot more like real amps. Everything. Okay. This record is on real tube amps, and we use this amazing reamping system of our producer Matthias, who has like a big collection of amps, like 5150s, like and so and we tried everything out and reamped a lot and really worked on the guitar sound, and for every single track on this album, we managed to like gather the perfect piece of gear for every like single track, maybe vocals or maybe like drums, bass, or anything. And we used multiple guitars on the guitar tracks. For example, like I played with 3 different guitars on a single song, like left guitar was different, the right guitar was different, and the doubling guitar, which was the quad tracks, was different. So a lot of like effort put into just recording, and different peaks also and shit like that. So yeah, like lots of effort and like lots of like perfecting when it comes to like finding the perfect gear for the album. So, and I think it paid off.
Okay. When you go to choose a left and right guitar, what do you want to choose? Do you want to look for different pickups? Do you look for, I don't know, a different style of, neck maybe to play certain things easier? I mean, what are your parameters to choose what guitar you're going to use where and when?
Yeah, the question makes a lot of sense, even though basically the left and right guitar were like very similar. They were my like I have 5 identical ESP guitars which have the same pickups, EMG 5766, and I have one different guitar which is my custom shop, which I didn't have back then. But anyway, I played those like main tracks left and right with the different individual of those like ESP I have, which were the same guitar but still sounded different because they are all individual. So it's a very minor difference that contributes to that like really wide stereo effect, you know.
Right.
And that helps a lot. And when it comes to that like quad tracking guitar, it was very different, like with different pickups, different brand. You know, it was a Ruokangas guitar owned by Matias Kupiainen. That's what we used for those quad track guitars, and that's where the sound changed drastically. You know, that's where it happens. So we didn't want that, you know, like very different sounding guitar, like stereo wise, but we wanted that for the quad tracks, and it all worked out really well in my opinion.
Okay, and you've obviously had a lot of different guest appearances over the years. How do you pick who ends up on the albums guesting with you guys? Does it have to do with someone that you want to work with? Does it have to do with their schedule, with them being available? What does that all entail?
Well, all of that actually. Like it's actually it always takes a lot of effort to find someone who has the time, who wants to do it, and who is like suitable for the role. You know, so it's
Right.
like basically in case of Elise Root, for example, it was actually quite lucky that we got her to do that. We were like pretty much a no name back then. You know, just released the debut album and just about to release the first single of the second album. So, but our label had a contact to her, you know.
Okay.
Our label manager used to sign Amaranth for the first album
Oh, okay.
deal, you know. So he had a contact, and he basically asked me to write a song that could work for our then to be introduced new singer and Elise, probably if he could get her to sing on the song. I wrote the song and it was presented to Elise, and Elise liked it and decided that she will do the feature. And it was kind of lucky after all, you know, like lots of different pieces like coming together, like pretty lucky. And regarding Bloodline, the duet with Nora Lohim of Battle Beast, it was less lucky. Maybe because we knew Nora previously and we toured together with Battle Beast back in 2019. So it was kind of obvious that we asked from Nora if she would be willing to do that, you know. So,
Right.
and her answer was if the song is good enough and she likes it, she will do it. And after a while, I finished writing Bloodline and she liked the song. So it was pretty simple after that. And well, the Cyan Kicks duet, it was even easier because Cyan Kicks guys are my friends, and I basically just asked them if they want to participate on an Arion song to like sing on it and get some exposure from us. So we were able to kind of give another band exposure instead of it going the other way, you know, like Ellis did for us, for example. So it was like really like pleasant for us as well, like that we were able to like help another band, and they helped us as well by performing a great vocal track on our song. So those are the kind of stories that happen, and well, it's often a long shot when you try to like find the perfect guest vocalist or a perfect musician for your song, you know. But sometimes it really pays off, the whole hard work you put into it, and sometimes it's just way easier. So it depends on the situation. Yeah.
Okay. Has there ever been someone that you've approached where it didn't work out and they weren't able to, for whatever reason, not be a part?
No, actually, there were like some initial plans about another guest singer at one point, which we didn't end up doing yet, at least. It was just because we already had, it was supposed to be for this album, and we already had like lots of featuring vocalists already on this album, so we kind of just decided to drop that idea, maybe move into the future. But never has there been a situation where like the other person has just proved themselves to be like not wanting to do the thing, or just like acting like an asshole or something like that. It hasn't happened to us yet, but of course future may like, prove out to be different.
Right. If you had a wish to have a guest, is there one guest that would be like a dream guest for you to have on the album, on one of your albums?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting question because Elise back then was a like kind of a dream come true. It was like really exciting to write a song for one of the most hyped vocalists of that era in the mellow scene, you know.
Right.
But Nora as well, she was kind of a dream come true as well because she's a great singer. I love her voice, and well. Basically, we've already agreed that it's actually a funny story. I was asked this question back in 2018 from Sweden Rock magazine, and I answered that I would love to work with Jake E from Syra, who is the ex-Amaranth male singer, you know. And
Right.
he actually saw the interview, he read it, and he actually messaged me that he really wants to do a duet with us. It would be like really amazing. So it kind of happened that easily, you know. He was like really hype about that. We didn't do it yet, but we're gonna do it in the future. like absolutely. For anyone else, I have actually no idea yet. It depends on what kind of songs I'm gonna come up with, you know, and maybe some kind of like screamo vocalist will be actually like really interesting. We've done lots of like female duets already, so something else like you know, I don't know, not dropping any names, but you know.
Gotcha. Okay. And way back when, I guess you guys got notoriety for going on a show to qualify for Eurovision. You guys were still teenagers back then, so you were very young. What was that process like, and was there a lot of pressure put on you guys at the time?
It was really weird back then because we kinda ended up on that contest by almost like by accident, you know. It was kind of like we just had recorded our first demo, and our producer Matthias, who is still our producer, kind of just joked about like sending that to that kind of contest qualifier, you know, to in hope that maybe someone from the industry could like listen to our song and like remember the name of the band, you know. But what happened was that we ended up on national television, which was like really weird, and we were teenagers, so it was like kind of terrifying at the same time, but also like it paid off in the end because we got our first recording deal because of that contest. Our label manager saw us in the contest because her daughter recommended him to watch that show, you know. So
oh wow,
that's what happened, and that's why we are the band we are today, you know. We never want to go to Eurovision because it's not actually like a dream come true for a metal band in general, you know, even though it's like great exposure. But that was not our goal. Our goal was just to like you know kind of get someone from the industry to notice us, and that's what happened. Like it paid off.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, in Finland, Lordi won. So that was a big deal. They were the first like rock band to essentially win, or anything that was basically anything remotely close to hard rock or metal. What did that do for Finland back then? Did you see an uptick in the scene of rock music becoming popular, or you know, did Lordi become overly popular in the country? What was the overall effect, in your opinion, at the time?
Yeah, well, actually, this might sound interesting to like anyone outside of Finland, but in Finland, it's been a common thing, like back in those days, that like metal bands have been featured a lot in like mainstream radios and mainstream shows. Okay. You know, it was not an uncommon thing back then, unlike in any other country. So, like basically, it was a huge thing that Lordi won the show, won the contest, you know. But it was not like they were already a quite popular band in Finland, and like they had gotten their share of that like mainstream like exposure already. So what actually happened back then was that Lordi actually got like really unpopular in Finland because they won that contest. For a while, they got like really popular, of course, because they were like all over every magazine and shit like that. But what happened that people actually didn't consider them as a metal band anymore. It was like, you know, they were like, people were talking that they're too commercial or something like that, which is really weird because everywhere else that Eurovision thing is like represented as like a really cool thing. You know, it's like really cool that a metal band won such a contest. But in Finland, everyone was just like suddenly like talking shit about them. And that sounds too mean, but they were not considered the metal band. They were not like somehow they weren't credible anymore, and it was like really weird, and I find that like really frustrating actually. And like really like in one kind of a way, we actually got that same kind of like reaction like initially from that shit. We were like not very like credible in the very start of our career because of that Eurovision thing, So Finland is a weird country, I'd say. Being part of that contest was not cool for some reason, and everywhere else, for example, Germany or something like that, was really cool and it was like really interesting for everyone, but not here. That's weird.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That shows how fickle metal fans can be. All these years later, there's so many rules to what it is to be a metal band, and at the end of the day, you're trying to promote your music. And as you said, you weren't expecting to get on the show, but you wanted people to know who you were. There are very few bands that can claim to be out there and make a living, doing what they love doing. So, I mean, I never understood, it isn't as if, you're I don't know, doing a Britney Spears song or something similar to that to get on Eurovision. It's still a rock or a metal song. So I mean, I don't get the hate. At the end of the day, it seems like a lot of people that are stuck in their parents' bedrooms who are sour that they're not up there doing this. So
yeah, exactly. You got the point. That's like really weird to me as well. And there's no like I'm not like I can't see that as like very reasonable, that kind of like hate or jealousy towards those bands who make it to like mainstream for a while at least, it's really weird to me.
Yeah. The band has been around roughly a decade. What influenced you initially to become a guitarist, and what do you listen to today to keep you interested in playing in guitar?
Okay, well, that's an interesting question because like I've known since I started, I was like 10 years old when I started playing guitar, and I already knew back then that I want to be a professional guitar player. And who influenced me back then was mainly first it was like Children of Bodom, Alexi Laiho, and also Iron Maiden and that kind of basic stuff, which was like Alexi Laiho, for example, was like basically a really huge influence for my generation of players in Finland in general, because it's a huge thing for like small country like Finland when a guitar player from our country gets voted as the best metal guitar player in the world. It's a huge inspiration for kids, And I'm one of the lucky bastards from that kind of generation to have that kind of like privilege to enjoy that like inspiration from him. But growing up, I basically started listening to a bigger variety of guitar players. Like, for example, Michael Romeo from Symphony X is a big influence to me, one of the best guitar players in the world, seriously. Matias Kupiainen from Stratovarius, who's our producer, he's actually one of my biggest guitar heroes as well, and I got to work with him, which is like really amazing, of course. True dream come true, if anything is, then that is. But also like John Petrucci, of course, big influence for me, like your players and like that. Songwriting wise, actually Lamb of God is a huge influence for me as well, because like I really like their riffing and their like songwriting in general, Randy Blythe lyrics and like singing as well. It's like really amazing to me. And nowadays maybe I listen to a lot of like score music, movie scores and shit like that, and also like I listen to a lot of pop metal, like I Prevail and Bring Me the Horizon. Those are like really big bands for me. I especially love I Prevail. It's really amazing. The songwriting skills are extraordinary. And nowadays, I've kind of as a guitar player, I began to like appreciate more of those like classic, like legendary guitar players like Zakk Wylde and players like that. Zakk Wylde is a huge thing for me nowadays. He's such a cool guy in my opinion. So it has changed a little bit. I'm not that much into those like how do you say? I'm just maybe more into classics these days. So to keep it relatively short, I'm gonna stop here.
Okay, sure. what are the plans for the band post-pandemic? Are you guys looking to go out and tour already? Is there talk of that? Is there talk of doing anything else moving forward from here to the end of the year?
Yeah, well, it's pretty difficult right now,
Mm-hmm.
career building wise. But we're supposed to tour in Finland at least in the autumn, hopefully in the fall, and there are plans of European tours for the next year too, and we hopefully get to finally do our American debut as well, which will be the Pro Power Festival, which we were like really looking forward to, during the pandemic year last year, but of course it didn't happen, and it can't happen this year either. So it's been like really disappointing for us, but we're still like really looking forward to that, and hopefully it will happen. And there will be lots of shows, but it's just not gonna happen yet.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Where should people go to keep up with you and the band?
Yeah, well, the best way to support an artist is to listen to them on Spotify, on YouTube, and shit like that. Because as unfortunate as it is, the record business is not supporting artists anymore that much. So follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, or anything you'd like to follow, which is the easiest way, and listen to our music. That's the easiest way to support an artist these days, I think. We've got actually a really good playlist coverage on Spotify, so it's actually quite easy to find us anyway from there. So should be easy at least, and every single person listening to Arion counts a lot. So I really hope to see some people finding us through this show as well.
Okay, cool. If someone wants to buy the physical product, is there a specific place you want them to go to purchase the album?
Yeah, well, at least you can order it from our official merch website, which is a huge thing for us anyway. So if you want to do that, please do that. It's a site called Backstage Rock Shop, and it's located in Finland, and they ship overseas. They ship all everywhere in the world. So that's not a worry. They're gonna ship it if you want the physical product. I love physical products myself as well, but. And I'm really glad to see any single copy go anywhere in the world, because it's a huge thing for us anyway.
Okay, cool. And for someone like myself who is ignorant as to where bands go to play in Finland, obviously I'm assuming that they go, when a foreign band comes in, they probably play Helsinki, which is the capital. But what other cities do bands usually play in Finland?
Yeah, well, Tampere, which is 200 kilometers from Helsinki, is a pretty good place for an international band to play in. There are really good venues in there. Oulu as well, which is 600 kilometers from Helsinki. It's sort of midway from Finland south to its north. It's a really good place, and it's a place where all those people from the north really gather to see those really good international shows. So those are probably the three biggest cities and most important cities in Finland when it comes to. Oulu and Tampere are also really big metal capitals of Finland. They're right. Metal music is really popular in those cities. So it's just like Göteborg in Sweden is really popular when it comes to metal music. There's even that kind of sound that comes from that city. So those cities are really big when it comes to metal music. Go there.
Okay, and there is one really big festival in Finland for hard rock and metal, isn't there?
Yeah. The Tuska Festival is really big.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. So really big and international festival.
Awesome. I appreciate all your time, Iivo. The album is fantastic. I'm not saying that to blow smoke up your ass. I really enjoy the album, and like I said, my patrons have enjoyed what I've posted from the album. I thank you for the music, and I thank you for your time, and wish you nothing but success.
Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. This was really pleasant. I really enjoyed this time with you on this podcast, and thank you for your kind words regarding our music. Well,
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Iivo. We will be in touch in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
bye.
All right, bye. There we go. This was a I didn't mention this on the stream or anything. This just kind of came up. I was planning to do the interview for some time. I really enjoy the band's new album. Really check it out. Again, you guys who have followed me know that that I really speak my mind when I talk about bands. You know, I don't like being forced to interview people. I pursued this as soon as I saw that Iivo was available. I'm like, I want to talk to him because I really like the new album, Vultures Die Alone by Arion. If nothing else, check it out on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever your streaming service of choice may be. It's solid beginning to end. And he described everything perfectly. You know, they're listed as a symphonic or power metal band, but this is not that at all. Sure, you can find different aspects and say, oh, well, it sounds like that here, but it's heavier. It has kind of a modern production value to it. But the songs are really good. They're really strong top to bottom. So check the album out. I will be back tomorrow on the regularly scheduled Signals from Mars episode. By the time you hear this in the podcast format, we'll have had last week's episodes with Lucas from Void Vader up, and we'll have Chris Vaglio from Galaxy of Geeks up as well. And for those that don't know, I do Galaxy of Geeks every Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. In the UK, midnight for those in the continental European time zone like myself. And obviously I do Signals from Mars Fridays, the same times as the Thursday show. 6 p.m., 3 p.m., 11 p.m., and midnight. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Iivo. I hope you guys support them and check the album out. And I'll be back later tonight on Galaxy of Geeks and tomorrow with more Signals from Mars. Thank you for checking this out live or otherwise or recorded. And we'll see you next time right here on the Signals from Mars live stream. See ya.